What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sai, bringing you some hype back for some Captain America Civil War predictions. This is gonna be my video talking about my predictions for the movie, maybe characters that die, plot lines, etc., stuff after the movie, and talk about some of the theories for the video based on the clips we've seen. It's about 2 weeks from premiering in America. It might have already came out. No, it comes out a little bit earlier in Europe. But anyway, I just want to talk about the movie because I'm a really big Marvel fan. So let's get right into it. If you didn't know, this is an adaptation of the comic book Civil War, and what happened in Civil War is a group of reality TV superheroes accidentally blow up an elementary school, and it causes the government to have these superheroes register their powers. So what that is so that the government regulates what superhero does what and who can do this and how they use their powers and everything. And then a lot of the superheroes don't agree with that, Captain America side, whereas Tony Stark, Iron Man, a lot of them do agree with it and think that superheroes should be put in check. So that's kind of the basis of the movie. And we, as most people predict, look right here, this incident we think is the bombing of like the UN building, because we know the UN is the people who put the Sokovia Accords or the Registration Act on. So they think that this incident is that. And we see right here, we see Black Panther, played by Chadwick Boseman, great actor. This is probably him at the incident too. So I think this is going to play out a lot and into the not just the Black Panther's role in the Civil War, but also Black Panther's role in his own solo movie, which is coming out February 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But I really do think that Black Panther is going to play a pivotal part in this, and he's going to be kind of the Spider-Man of the comic book. Even though Spider-Man's in the movie, I think Black Panther is going to be the one who's more pivotal to the storyline. Even though reviews do say that Spider-Man is in the movie about 30 minutes, and it's about 20 minutes Spider-Man and 10 minutes of Tom Holland as Peter Parker, which I think is going to be super sick. But one of the things I've thought about, and I thought this right after I saw I think it was the first trailer. The scene that we get at the end of Ant-Man is this one.
Buck, do you remember me?
Your mom's name was Sarah. You used to wear newspapers in your shoes.
Now, I think that scene actually happens after the bombing scene of the UN. So I think the way that it's set up is that Bucky actually blows up Stanford before the end credit scene we see at the end of Ant-Man. And I think that was just kind of, not that it's that important to the dynamic of the story, but I think it adds an extra layer of timeline between the stories interconnecting. Now, what we see here is we see Bucky in this chamber that we end up seeing throughout a couple of the trailers. And right here we see him with the mask too, which we only see him with in the Winter Soldier, and then he has it ripped off and then he never gets it back. So this might be some sort of flashback. Maybe even this could go along the lines of it's showing him blowing up Stanford before Ant-Man, maybe even before Winter Soldier, or maybe it's just a flashback of some of his memories. I'm not too sure, but I don't think we'll see him really as this like slave like how he was in Winter Soldier, the Bucky. I think he'll be more of a guy on the run, kind of messed up psychologically, trying to get his bearings on reality, what's true, what's just what Hydra implanting in my head, some of the stuff like that. Now we go on to seeing this. Now this is where a lot of people say that Bucky's being held, or that this is where Tony Stark, this is the Raft or Prison 42, which is this prison Tony Stark builds in the comics with Reed Richards to keep all these crazy superheroes in. I think this itself won't play an actual part, and I think the part we see here with the where Iron Man, Captain America, and Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes are all fighting, I think those are two separate places. I think they both places tie in with Zemo, as I think Baron Zemo does end up going to what we're seeing right here in the Raft, and also the Winter Place, which we can see like right here in this clip. And there again we see Bucky in the tank. I don't think that's that pivotal to the story, but I do think that that's how Baron Zemo plays a factor into it. I've seen a lot of reviews saying Baron Zemo isn't in it that much, which I don't really mind because the main part of the story is Captain America versus Iron Man. That's what we want to see. We want to see the superhero civil war. We don't really want to see them gang up against the bad guy, kind of like how it ended up being in Batman vs Superman. But we don't want to talk about that. But as we know, Daniel Bruhl, great actor. If you haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, see him in that. But as we know, Daniel Bruhl is playing Baron Zemo, and a lot of people are speculating who is this guy in the tank. Now, the tanks, I talked about the tank a lot, but who is this guy in the tank right here? Now we watch this. You see over in that right corner, we see there's some guy in the tank, but if you look underneath Captain America, you see the Winter Soldier. Now, my theory is that is Baron Zemo in the tank, and this is at that winter place at the very end of the movie, and it's all three of them fighting. Bucky is sort of out of sorts. He's trying to figure out what's real, and I think that he's been controlled by Zemo the whole time, even from Winter Soldier, which is kind of crazy, but it's not really if you think about how the dynamic of the story works in, because Bucky was mind controlled, but if you think about it, he needed to be controlled by someone. I don't think those scientists or even Zola was really the guy, or even Pierce in Winter Soldier. As we know, Robert Downey Jr. was just cast in Spider-Man Homecoming, which is completely awesome. I'm super psyched for that. And that led me to think of this theory that I thought of almost back when Tom Holland was cast as Spider-Man. I think the way that Peter Parker and Tony Stark get tied together in Civil War is that Peter's, what he does, because Peter Parker's genius. I think that he does something at his school, like a sciencey something, and it gets recognized by Tony Stark, and then we see Tony Stark go, oh, I'm going to take an interest in you. And Tony, being, billionaire, playboy, genius, philanthropist, ends up finding out that Peter is Spider-Man, and so on. That's how it ties into the story, and that's how he becomes his protege. I've seen reports that they said they do, Robert Downey does have a scene where he's younger, where they do some of the aging techniques like they did for Michael Douglas and Ant-Man. And I think we'll get like a young Tony Stark flashback to something he did in high school, which I think is going to be super sick. But I think that's how they're going to tie in. Peter does something sciencey, breaks like one of Tony's records or something in his high school. Tony's like, being the egomaniacal guy he is. And he's just like, wow, I'm going to start looking at this kid. And this kid really is something special. So, and I think that's how they're going to tie that together. Now, one thing I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about, but I think it's just something to kind of point out, is we see right here in this little clip of Black Panther fighting Bucky, we see a helicopter shooting at him. And one of the coolest scenes, too, is the bullets just bouncing off Black Panther's vibranium suit, which is fucking awesome. That's super cool. But then we also see the same helicopter being, or maybe the same helicopter, you can't really quite tell the color of it, but we see a helicopter being pulled by Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, which is actually kind of cool because they did actually have a real helicopter pulled by strings, and they actually had Chris Evans stringing to pull it back, which I thought was a really cool movie technique. But anyway, I'm just wondering what this helicopter have to play in, because none of these superheroes have helicopters. Who is this? Is this a third party? Could it possibly be a bad guy for Black Panther? Is it just Hydra? How does this play into the overarching story where also, the big scene is the airport scene? Like every review I've read of it is airport scene, airport scene, airport scene, airport scene. It's the dopest. It's the dopest. It's the dopest. And I'm super psyched for it. I honestly am. Last thing, I do want to say I think this will probably be the best Marvel movie to date. I do think it will be the best Marvel movie to date. And as far as characters dying, I don't think we'll see any characters dying. I really don't. Like, even though the death of Captain America comic book ties into Civil War comic book, I don't think they're going to go that route just yet, because a lot of the reviews I read, even the non-spoiler review, I haven't read any of the spoiler reviews first off, but the non-spoiler reviews I read, none of them seemed like there's this big shock at the end. And I guess unless all these people are super, super good at keeping secrets, I really don't think Captain America is gonna die. I don't think Sharon Carter's gonna die. I don't think Bucky's gonna die. I don't think any of these characters are gonna die. I don't think we're gonna see any Infinity Stones. The next one we're gonna see is obviously Doctor Strange. The only character we're gonna see die, and I guess spoiler warning, is Peggy Carter is rumored to have her funeral at the start of the movie, and I read that like a year ago. But I mean, she's super old anyway, and you see that in Winter Soldier. But anyway, yeah, those were some of my predictions, theories. I just wanted to get that out there before the movie, and basically I just wanted to talk about the movie because I'm super psyched for it, and I can't wait for 2 weeks. So that's all I got for this video, guys. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you made it this far, first off. But thank you so much. If you have anything else to say, want to talk about, question, disagree, argue, or whatever, just leave a comment down below in the comment section. But yeah, thank you guys. I hope you're psyched for the movie as much as I am, and until next time.